ASTS just reported its earnings, Volvo revealed the ES90 with Luminar's LiDAR, and more happened in the past couple of weeks. Firstly, let's go over ASTS's earnings. Most of the news from the earnings were already released in the past, but let's cover the most important points. The company has nearly $1 billion in cash, it secured a contract for $43 million with the US Space Development Agency, so the revenue should slowly start coming in. It also announced plans to form European distribution entity jointly owned with Vodafone. This is huge because the EU wants to develop or fund a European satellite constellation and not rely on Starlink. The company made two-way video call transmission with AT&T, Verizon and Vodafone using unmodified smartphones. It also secured the components and materials needed to complete fully assembled Microns and phased array for over 50 satellites, and it exercised an option for additional orbital launches with full contracted launch capacity now for approximately 60 satellites during 2025 and 2026. As I've said before, I'm not planning to sell ASTS anytime soon, as I believe the company will not only start generating insane amounts of revenue, but also at an incredibly high profit margin in the high 90s. That will allow them to pour money into R&D, but it will still allow them to either buy back shares or pay out dividends. The thing with ASTS is that it also became a lot less risky in comparison to when I first bought the stock, so the potential gain is still huge but the risk is reduced. Meanwhile, there is still a lot of risk with my investment in Luminar Technologies, but slowly things are starting to turn around. Firstly, Volvo revealed the ES90, another car model that has Luminar's LiDAR. This demonstrates that Volvo doesn't think Luminar will go bankrupt anytime soon, because why else would they just continuously add Luminar's LiDAR to their car models? Now, I personally think the car looks amazing, way better than the EX90, but that's just my personal opinion. I won't go into the specs of the car, just cover what is important for Luminar Technologies. It will sell for about $34,000 cheaper than the EX90. For comparison, Volvo sells about 40,000 units of S90, the ICE version of the ES90 a year. So assuming Volvo will sell about 14,000 ES90s a year, that would equal to about $14 million of revenue a year for Luminar. According to Luminar, the car will go into production this year, and according to some other sources, that will happen in the late summer of 2025. The ES90 and the EX90 are on the so-called SPA2 platform, but our future cars will be on the so-called SPA3 platform. During the ES90 reveal, Volvo teased the EX60 coming next year. As I said, that car will be on the SPA3 platform, so if it will have Luminar's LiDAR, it will be huge, because not only would that LiDAR be on a high volume vehicle, but it would also increase the likelihood of that LiDAR being on all future models built on the SPA3 platform. On the same day, Volvo also reported its sales numbers for the month of February. They sold 136 EX90s in the second month of the year, which makes it look like sales are stabilizing between 800 and 1000 sales a month. My initial estimates were that these sales would stabilize around 6 to 7,000 cars a month, but now I have to revise my estimates down. I expect these sales for 2025 to stabilize at around 2,000 cars a month, but to see if that's true, we'll have to wait for the March sales numbers. The upcoming three catalysts are the Mercedes CLA reveal, Luminar's earnings and the Nvidia GTC conference. The Mercedes CLA will be revealed on March the 13th, and the thing about the CLA is that we don't know for sure whether it will have LiDAR or not. You see, the concept model has a LiDAR bump, but the camouflaged model doesn't. I think there is a chance that the CLA will have LiDAR in the grille, because we can see that weird square shape between the front lights. Additionally, in 2023 roadshow presentation, Luminar's LiDAR is located in that very same spot. In all following quarterly roadshow presentations, Luminar's logo was also included. There was not a single mention about Luminar or LiDAR. The CTO said that they've been able to achieve point-to-point driving in an urban area in China without LiDAR, but that slide is missing from all uploaded presentations. Meanwhile, the CEO said that the CLA will have all the hardware promised at the reveal, which should mean that it will have the LiDAR. He also said that the car will have all the necessary hardware for any level of autonomous driving any software engineer can think of. And in an article posted in November of 2024, Mercedes said that they need LiDAR to safely achieve level 3 autonomous driving. So yeah, a lot of mixed information evaluation without a clear answer. Luckily, we don't have to wait much longer, as we'll know for sure in a couple of days. From March the 18th to 21st, Luminar team will be at the Nvidia GTC conference as an Nvidia preferred partner, where they'll be displaying the first public demos of their Sentinel evaluation kits. This is the software that I mentioned in my last video, with which Luminar expects to make more money than from the actual sales of the sensor from 2030 onwards. Their Sentinel evaluation kits provide automakers with a turnkey solution for evaluating Luminar software suite for integration into future advanced safety and autonomous driving programs, including LiDAR perception, which tells you what's out there, and mapping and localization, which tells you where you are. This Nvidia conference is important because it shows that Luminar is still actively working with Nvidia, and despite all the talk from other LiDAR companies, it's the only LiDAR provider that will be exhibiting at the conference. And lastly, on March 20th, Luminar will be reporting its Q4 and full 2024 earnings. I expect the revenue to be somewhere around $17.3 million for the Q4. However, there are two more important things to look out for. Firstly, the operational cash flow loss. I expect that it will reduce to around $40 to $45 million for the Q4. If that's not the case, or in worst case the loss actually increases, then I'll have to seriously reevaluate my investment. So yeah, the operational cash flow loss is in my opinion the most important thing on this earnings report. The second one is obviously the guidance. I hope they'll give us a clear picture of how much LiDARs they expect to sell to Volvo for the EX90. I also think that they'll talk more about the upcoming models, that being the ES90 and potentially the Mercedes CLA. They've also been teasing something about an advanced contract with a major Japanese automaker in the last earnings report, so we'll hopefully hear more about that. I also hope they'll give us an update on the Halo development and Sentinel software, and that they'll explain their plan on how to minimize the effect of tariffs if those stay. If you want to see my portfolio updates as soon as I write them, get notifications when I buy or sell a stock, and see my whole up-to-date research on the stocks I'm holding like Luminar Technologies weeks before I make a video, you can subscribe to my Patreon by clicking the link in the pinned comment. Having said all that, this is purely for entertainment purposes, as I'm not a financial advisor, and if you want to see more of my content, click on the video that just popped up. If you like my content, make sure to subscribe, and thanks for watching.